This is Melanie Stansbury, the Democrat Congresswoman from New Mexico's 1st District. You may remember Stansbury from President Trump's joint address to Congress this past March. As President Trump entered the House chamber, Congresswoman Stansbury held up a piece of paper that said, "This is not normal."
I think it's really important in this moment to not normalize what Donald Trump and his administration are doing, because the things that they're doing are not only not normal, they're illegal. He's dismantling federal agencies, he's firing thousands of federal workers, they're laying off veterans, teachers, military, and they're harming our communities, and he's cozying up to our foreign adversaries at the same time. And I think it's critical that we don't normalize this behavior. And so I'll just say that my sign was an SOS to the world, and I think I communicated what I intended to.
Wow, what a hero. And when Stansbury isn't protesting the president, she's showing off her amazing math skills.
Just a point of clarification, the poll behind you, behind our ranking member, it adds up to 110%. Just wanted to clarify, is it meant to add up to 110%, or is that an error?
Do you yield?
Yeah, I do.
This is from a Quinnipiac poll that was held 2 weeks ago, and this is the data that was provided.
So Congresswoman Stansbury is doubling down, claiming that the numbers on the chart behind her are numbers from Quinnipiac. When voters were asked how they would rate the work that Musk and the Department of Government Efficiency have done, 38% say either excellent or good, while 57% say not so good or poor. Oh, so what was on the chart wasn't the data that was provided. I know you're shocked.
Thanks.
I yield back.
The gentleman yields, and it still adds up to 110%. That's a fake poll right there.
And as embarrassing as it is, the Congresswoman would have the worst time trying to fire whoever was responsible, because the workers in Stansbury's congressional office voted to form a union back in 2022. Womp womp. But then again, Stansbury, and I should note, the rest of the Democrats in the room, didn't notice either. Doesn't take brains to get elected to Congress, that's for sure.
There's a wealth of information, including information about Donald Trump's falling poll numbers, so you should take a look.
Okay, fine. Let's take a look at that information, Congresswoman. According to that June 11th Quinnipiac poll, President Trump's disapproval rating is at 54%. Compare that to the Republicans' disapproval rating of 61% and Democrats' disapproval rating at 70%, which includes 53% of Democrats. So maybe the Congresswoman should worry less about Trump and more about her own failing political party, not to mention her subpar mathematical skills. Next, let's head to a Healthcare and Financial Services Subcommittee hearing on the real cost of DEI. Here's Congressman John McGuire of Virginia.
My first question for each of you, yes or no, do you believe DEI is rooted in Marxist ideology? Mr. Langton, yes or no?
Yes.
Dr. Smith?
Yes.
Dr. Glock?
A similar ideology of complete equity, yes.
And Dr. Harper?
I don't know what you mean.
No worries.
And I'm sure you can guess who the witness for the Democrats was, but just in case, here's Congressman McGuire's second question.
Now I have another question for each of you. If you had to have heart surgery again, would you rather have a doctor who studied the hardest in school and was the most qualified to perform the surgery, or a doctor that was in that position because of their race or gender? Which one would you rather have, Mr. Langton?
I'd prefer a well-qualified physician.
Dr. Smith?
At the risk of not keeping it real, I want the best physician.
Dr. Glock?
The best physician.
And Dr. Harper?
Are only the best physicians white?
I don't care what their
That wasn't
color
a question.
And that witness for the Democrats is Dr. Sean Harper, PhD, a provost professor and head of the Race and Equity Center at the University of Southern California. And he was basically like that the entire hearing.
Do you believe that America should be a colorblind society?
I
For instance, should people be treated differently based on their race? It's just a yes or no question.
It's not a yes or no question.
It's a yes or no question.
It is a
a
America
yes or
has
no
not
is
done
fine.
right
by indigenous peoples, by black people, by Asian American and Pacific Islander
Should people be treated differently based on their race? Yes or no?
People should receive the services and the support and the remedies that
So
are
your answer
owed to
is
them.
that they should be treated differently based on their race.
They should receive the remedies that are owed to them because of the systemic racism
Do you
and
believe
injustice.
that? Do you believe that race should be considered in employer hiring practices?
I do not believe that white people are the only qualified people for jobs.
I didn't say that. Nobody said that.
Cumulatively, across all industries, 77% of managers are white. 84% of C-suite executives in Fortune 100 companies are white. 87% of Fortune 500 CEOs are white. 94% of U.S. governors are white. 73% of the current United States Congress is comprised of white members. All but one president of the United States of America has been white.
So Dr. Harper is saying that we need more DEI because there are too many non-white candidates being passed over in elections. Got it. According to the About page on his website, Dr. Harper has spoken and facilitated high-quality professional learning experiences for employees across all levels at more than 400 corporations, firms, agencies, and educational institutions, including the White House and federal agency convenings. So he's upset that there's only been one black president, but gladly worked with the White House during the Biden administration because money talks, I guess.
Colorblindness kills.
What?
You know, listen, colorblindness seeks to erase people of color, our histories, our cultural contributions, you know, just our existence in organizations.
No, colorblindness is the idea that people should not be judged by their race and color, but judged on their individual merits. Here's Dr. Eric Smith of the Cato Institute.
If you tell people that colorblindness is a bad thing, you're telling them what to think of me without my say. If you tell somebody to look at a black person and say, well, they're black, you need to look at them differently, you're telling them to look at me differently without my say. You cannot erase individuality, individual sovereignty from this. Yes, we are parts of groups, but we are also, and perhaps primarily, individuals.
Do you guys agree with yes or no, do you agree with Dr. Martin Luther King's statement that people should be judged by the content of their character, not the color of their skin? Mr. Langton.
Absolutely.
Dr. Smith?
Yep.
And Dr. Glock?
Absolutely.
And Dr. Harper?
Martin Luther King would absolutely be repulsed by the politicized attacks on diversity, equity, inclusion.
So you're not
The
going to
things
say
that
yes
he
or no?
fought and
Yes or
died
no?
for.
You got to say yes or no.
No. Listen,
Yeah, hard pass. But Dr. Harper wasn't the only one trying to gatekeep MLK. Here's Congresswoman Latifah Simon of California.
And I want to be clear that 4 out of the 5 of you last year posted on your social media the words of Dr. King. And there are so few folks who actually have studied, who are clear on the theology of freedom of King. Very few of you have read and studied and have sat in Ebenezer Baptist Church. So I would ask you, you keep Dr. King's name out of your mouth.
Yeah. So what the Congresswoman is saying, demanding even, is that Republicans, regardless of skin color by the way, aren't allowed to reference Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s most famous line, which is the following: "I have a dream that my 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character." Notice that MLK didn't say, "I want my children to not only be judged by the color of their skin, but also by the content of their character." The left always twists his very straightforward words. Well, actually, what he meant to say was that color should always be considered. Gerard Robinson, a professor at the University of Virginia and an adjunct fellow at the American Enterprise Institute, wrote the following back in January 2020. The meaning of King's words is still a subject of dispute. Some people believe King's content of their character quote is not an invitation to create a colorblind nation. Instead, it is an exhortation for the evaluation of an individual's worth without ignoring race and heritage in the process. Others disagree. They believe that the phrase is a commitment to character first, color second, if at all. This debate will likely endure for decades to come. And it's only a debate because people won't be honest and are putting words into MLK's mouth, because race grifters like Congresswoman Simon want Democrats to feel like they're perpetual victims so that they'll always vote Democrat.
The majority is leading a coordinated effort, I want to be clear, to push us back to a segregated America based on race, based on ethnicity, based on national origin, based on sex, based on sexual orientation and gender identity and disability. Inclusion, as a disabled woman, they have been very, very clear.
Wow, she's great. Thanks, California. Anyway, that's it for now. Follow me on X at Don't Walk Run. And as always, thank you so much for tuning in, and hope to see you next time, if there is next time.